Hello and welcome back to Starfield, my first playthrough! Yay! So please like, subscribe and comment to help with my channel out. I'll be very grateful and appreciative. Right, we are here at the Mass District on New Atlantis.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral
You're
of the
clone of a
UC
man?
during the Colony War,
Really?
former head of the UC Navy.
If you was a clone, wouldn't
They
you be a
called
man?
him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young. Training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it.
Yeah, you're a clone of a man. How does that
A
work?
non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels. But there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective, and UC. Military, and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the Cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
When you have a moment, I'd like to speak to you.
All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
I have an important personal decision to make, but I need to discuss something with you first. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. Well, the position didn't last long. There was a particularly bloody battle. We were fighting over a world in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Worst fighting I'd ever seen. We lost 12 ships that day. 12. Including my own. Economic reasons. Several of the worlds in the Cassiopeia system were mineral-rich. Both sides wanted to drop refinery outposts on the surface to bolster their supply. I'm well aware how many lives were lost. Now let me finish. The ship was barely intact. The captain and first mate died the previous day, which put me in command. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew to abandon ship, but I was so angry. I wanted to stay. I needed to fight. I believe you, but you haven't heard the worst of this. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. And last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. You're sorry. For me? If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager to prove that I could handle command, my crew would have had more time to escape. Try telling that to their loved ones. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. Can you believe that? A damn medal. I never even had a chance to find the shuttle wreckage and give my crew a proper burial. Bad luck. That sounds familiar.
Remember when you said no one but me would have pushed harder to keep the Navigator Corps going? Well, this time, pushing too hard cost lives.
Don't you get it? Everything I do, everything I touch, somehow falls apart. That's why I'm worried about us. After everything you've heard, all my stories, you still have faith. No one's ever cared about me this much. Not even Aja.
Oh, I gotta do the last thing.
You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about our relationship, how we've clearly become close. I practiced what I was going to say when the moment was right, and now that it's here, my mind's gone blank. Look, you deserve the best. Someone who can give themselves to you entirely. But right now, I have too much baggage. Too much on my mind. I hope you'll forgive me for pushing you away. I just need time.
No problem.
Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
So it would seem. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
Sarah.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly.
Can you do
The
it
last thing we
discreetly?
need is a citywide
Big
panic.
hideous monsters eating
Yes,
people.
ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
I can do it.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got.
So I'm a
You
tool.
too. We can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
Do it discreetly. There's big alien monsters eating people.
You! The EM rifle, grab it!
That's it!
No!
Now hit him with everything you
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Please! I can't stop!
What did that say? Equip the EM weapon.
Fire! Bring it on! Why?
God you got here when you did. I just wish it hadn't come to that.
Yeah, what the hell happened back there, Captain? There's no excuse for using lethal force
I
here.
didn't use lethal force, you did.
Sorry doesn't bring these people back. A crisis isn't licensed to cast aside your morals. Understand? Now,
I didn't use
Officer.
lethal force, you did.
the way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
They shoot them, and I get the blink. Alright, let's put this EM weapon on my quick slot. My lord. Still not level yet. Why can't I level past 11?
Shh. I don't think we're alone.
Oh God, no time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move!
An evacuation order has been issued for the spaceport district.
It's not real.
All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
Still the med packs, they don't need healing.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Good.
What is this? Captain! You're going to be okay! It's not real! Whatever you're experiencing right now, it's not real! We have to put down that morph!
Our experts?
Oh, now I know.
We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before, huh? Well, got one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
What supplies? Where can I get the supplies?
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you. Someone wants to take us on? Bring it.
Organic resources like this are more useful than people give them credit for.
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
That's what he gets for hiding next to an exploding object. One of your team just didn't make it.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
The loss of life, the damage to the spaceport. The costs of this attack are greater than I think we realize.
Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed, first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
You've got the Cabinet's full backing to prevent more
I'm
attacks.
gonna go check in with Chief
Understand?
Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
Hello.
The things we do here, the tech we develop, benefits all of humanity.
Alright, get out of the way.
Just doesn't add up. Spaceport has anti-Xeno protocols. How the hell does a whole herd of Terramorphs touch down undetected?
I'll be stealing with it.
Pardon?
These orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the Cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
I do now.
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people, the ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun, to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
I like that option, but I don't think that'll go down too well. No problem, I'm just gonna need some electrodes, a tooth extractor, and some sodium pentothal. Yeah, that's not gonna go down too well.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
I think 3-star, because I got a quest to do with 3 stars already, so...
Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Alrighty. To the embassy we go.
Is it really necessary for you to drag around all that gear?
Oh, I am heavy. Oh, I'm gonna sell some then. When I get out of here.
Excuse me.
Captain, would you like to finish your briefing on the ambassadors? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
Going on up to the serpent in the sky, It's where I'm gonna go when I die, when I die. When I die, they're gonna lay me to rest. Ha 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 ha.
Well said. There's no reason to assume they're any worse than us, despite their cultural beliefs.
Of course. But there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador. The embassy is still legally House Varun sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out.
Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind.
Be smart out there, Captain.
Captain, Admiral Logan informed me of your part in halting the attacks. Whole damn city owes you. Now, what do you need?
You're not a shop, damn you.
And my mother wanted me to be a doctor.
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can set foot in there.
You gotta be kidding me. It's crumble, not pastry.
It could cause an incident. It could mean my job, sir.
Fine.
You've got something for me? I'd be happy to carry a few things for you.
Oh, I got Mike again.
Great UC.
Goodbye.
You our visitor? You'll find the ambassador in our office.
Hard to believe.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. That means you.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow. Hey. Time to go?
Terramorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Guests can make themselves comfortable in the lobby.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? What are you? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants Terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Excuse me. A less level-headed person might think that was a threat, Captain.
That's not a threat.
The only threats you're facing are the eight-legged variety just outside your door. Now can we please stop playing games here? Lives hang in the balance.
A lecture in morality from the UC. How quaint and short-sighted. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening.
8.
You know that for sure. That is interesting. Oh, please. Buttering me up isn't gonna get us anywhere.
Well, I've got to do this, otherwise I'm not going to make it.
Oh, yes. This band research is precisely what the factions need to kickstart their relationship. Let's breed a bioweapon together. Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer is not changing. The UC is just gonna have to find another way. Now, I presume you can see yourself out.
Alright, access the UC listening device, speak to the 3-star embassy staffer, read the FC embassy security slate. Where is the security slate? Where is that?
Sounds like it was a real mess down at the spaceport.
That woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Well, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private? So you want me to work with you? But why now? Why me?
You, because you're going to be gullible and I can beat you.
No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me? Okay, first you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of splitting the atom with a spoon than me getting that from her. Her quarters. Huh. Well, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services? Oh, wait, I thought you were looking to hire me. Oh, I'm not taking a bribe. Really? Okay, you've got yourself a deal. Okay, so there's a utility corridor that leads into the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC.
Who's there? Wait, something's wrong.
This area's off limits. You're making things harder for yourself. Okay, let's go. This isn't a playground.
Where was my last save? I don't know. I should have saved before I did all this. That was silly of me.
Good. And you can bet the UC is gonna hear about this.
Now I have a criminal record. Thanks.
God, you made me jump then. How am I supposed to get through? Okay, it's getting near the end of the episode anyway, so thank you all for watching. I've enjoyed watching it, I've enjoyed making it, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time.